still mic. Yeah, I know. Wait a minute. There's an easy way around that.
Well, you look good. I like it. I like it. He won't sit up here. I told him to. No, 12. Sarge said. There you go.
That fun time of spring. Yes.
Maybe that's why I
He's
said
gonna make sure you sit up.
She knows it.
she knows all that. But she stuck it to us anyway. All right, let's get started.
I don't know. That would have been news to me. Yeah, I would ask him.
And I got to try to find some funding to send home to Washington, D.C. I think I could use drug funds for the National Academy conference, national conference. You guys made the CompStat book? Ah, I thought I was getting a CompStat book made. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things I don't have. No. Somebody's going to have to constantly kick me to make sure that. Don't cuss, right? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I forgot my glasses.
So I took what they sent over, but everybody's doing a cost share.
Everybody does a course share. Okay.
And then those are how many they have in the school.
We're 92,000. We're
Yeah, because we don't have a cost share.
okay.
But if we were, and they wanted to go to 14 and 19 because they wanted to cover all the middle schools, the county would basically have to come up with $1 million.
Okay.
But that's, and I really like some of those contracts from these other companies.
I gotta sit down one day. All right. We'll talk when I'm not wired. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Jeez, thank you. Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, Madam City Manager. Top of the morning to you. Anybody else I missed? No? Tim Jolly, good morning. Tim, you got the purple memo shirt too? Purple shirt memo? You're a little off color there. All right. Captain Egan, let's talk crime. What do we got going on in Deltona?
Well, Sheriff, I want to start off with some recent events that we've had just this past weekend. Sergeant Matt Inkin, deputies Matt Myers and Joshua Hansard, they were recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Drivers for their for their DUI enforcement efforts. Last week, we also participated in a Cops and Kids kickball event with the West Volusia Boys and Girls Club. And also wanted to mention, and we'll mention it again at the end, but we're having the DEA drug drop-off this Saturday at all the district offices throughout the county. And our high visibility enforcement grant, we've got 2 weeks left, and it's going great. And I've heard that you've got good feedback on that.
A lot of good feedback. Lieutenant Ford, do you want to talk about that real quick, what you guys are doing?
Yes, basically the bicycle and pedestrian operation that we had is going well. We got about another week and a half, 2 weeks, as the captain said, with our 8 locations. We're going to probably this is the wrapping it up. So now we're going to go on our third phase, and we've got a lot of feedback. A lot of the citizens appreciating everything that we've been doing out there.
Good.
So.
Carly, you want to give us an update on PAL and our partnership with YMCA?
We're going to be partnering with the Deltona YMCA to sponsor kids to attend their summer camp program. And in addition to that, we're also looking to work with the city with either Heritage or Galaxy to have a summer program this summer. We're meeting with the school board to discuss the logistics of that.
So it looks like we're going to be able to run a summer program through the Y and through?
Yes, if we can get everything tied down, but it looks to be pretty positive at this point.
Okay. Anything you need from me, let me know.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, so talking about crime stats, our total Part 1 crimes are down 14% compared to last year.
And this is,
Year to date.
okay.
Yes, sir. Our residential burglaries are down 29% from last year, year to date. Our auto thefts are down 14%. Car breaks are down 11%. There is a slight uptick in robberies. We had 4 last year, and we had 8 so far this year. I would say that several of those are drug-related robberies that have been cleared by arrest. And moving on to just some quick stats for the district. During the CompStat period, we had 1,467 calls for service. We had 84 arrests, 231 traffic stops, and it's been a busy 2 weeks.
Can you go back one slide? That's showing the statistical comparison for the last 2 years. And the middle columns are 16 versus 17, and then the right column's 15 versus 17. So anyway, so go ahead. Sorry, Art.
No, you're good. So I'll start right off with the captain's report. Our first case is a auto theft recovered. It's case number 17-9856. It occurred in the area of Fort Smith and Alley 570, which is near Tradewinds. It was a 2007 Nissan Sentra that had been stolen and recovered, and there were prints recovered, and there was a possible suspect.
Sarge, you guys developed some information on this?
Yeah, this started as a suspicious incident. Patrol found the vehicle abandoned, the stolen vehicle abandoned, tried to contact the victim with no luck. The victim was out of town and discovered his house was burglarized ultimately, and the car was stolen. He provided a possible suspect. We're working that avenue. When we processed the vehicle, we got a receipt, got some video surveillance from that we're looking into. It's not going to be the Jimmy guy.
It's not the Jimmy Lee Gears guy?
No.
Okay. But this is,
We
go
did
ahead.
check tag readers. It was, the stolen vehicle hit on April 10th in Daytona and South Daytona. It was recovered. We did get a large quantity of latent prints that we're waiting on. We got good video, real good video surveillance. Electronics, jewelry, a safe, and the car were stolen. No serial numbers. Entry was made to the rear of the residence. The victims had actually been out of town since April 8th. We checked ponds. There's nothing in the ponds yet. We did not get any DNA. A bulletin was done, and this looks like it's going to be tied directly to the toll booth burglary from the Beach Patrol.
Okay. And we have a suspect, or we're waiting for the prints to come back?
We do.
We do have a suspect on this one. Okay. All that out of a stolen recovered auto. That's good.
Yes, sir.
That's good work.
Next, we'll move on to residential burglaries. First one is case number 17-10541. It occurred at 1351 Belmar Drive. It was a daytime burglary. There was no forced entry. Game systems and cameras were taken, entry through the rear door, and prints were recovered.
This one, the residence was burglarized while the victim was away. It occurred to daytime burglary in 44 zone. Nothing on the victim's criminal history. The suspect, we do have a suspect. We do not believe it's insurance fraud. We have latent prints that we're waiting on. No video surveillance. PlayStation, camera, a bunch of jewelry was taken, no serial numbers. We have some good leads from witnesses. Nothing's in the ponds yet, and we're moving in the right direction on
Do
this.
we believe that this burglary is connected to Saxon?
Yeah, the 10031,
Yeah,
it is
1441?
possible.
Okay. Eric, what are the geographical boundaries of 44 zone? Because 44 zone seems to be your hotspot for burglaries.
Right. It's basically the middle west side of Deltona, from Saxon north to Elkham, and from Providence west to I-4.
Okay.
And what we're doing to kind of address that is we've beefed up patrols in that neighborhood. We've reached out to the COPs. They're helping us be our eyes and ears in the area. And we've also tasked our crime suppression team to work in that area.
COPs, you guys are in that geographical area for us?
Yes, sir. We started last night.
Okay. Okay.
All right, next case is 17-10578 at 1622 Providence Boulevard. It was a nighttime burglary where the suspect actually entered an unlocked vehicle, took the garage door opener and keys, and got into the house. And
So you got a guy starts out as a car brake, gets the garage door opener, and then gets into the house with somebody inside sleeping.
yes, sir. And that case was cleared by arrest. We arrested the suspect inside the home. Appears to be drug-related.
Did we charge him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything other than,
He's not related to any other crime that we can tell.
okay.
Next case is an occupied residential burglary, case number 17-10347, 2995 Windsor Heights. It was a daytime burglary. Suspect entered an open garage and stole gas cans. Some great teamwork on this one. It was cleared by arrest.
You know, I think when you look at everything that's going on and you say, somebody says, somebody went into an open garage and stole gas cans, the cops really won't do anything about that, but
No, we will. If we can pull up a picture of the defendant in this case, this was cleared by arrest by the Deltona Detectives Unit. It's a great case where we got a career criminal off of the street. It was worked by Detective Roman. Like the captain said, it's a burglary to an occupied dwelling. Unknown male entered the victim's garage. Victim was inside the residence. Several gas cans were stolen. This was up in 49 zone. We arrested Mitchell Dorn. He's 25-5 on felonies, 23-7 on misdemeanors. He's in custody. This is not a case of insurance fraud. Basically, the victim got a partial tag of I-05 for the last three. We worked closely with the Volusia County, the VC3, and gave them the description and partial tag. They gave us a potential suspect vehicle. Contacted the registered owner, who said her daughter's boyfriend had the vehicle. His name was Mitchell. We all know Mitchell Dorn, so we did a photo lineup with Mitchell Dorn to see if that was him, and the victim picked him right out. He was arrested and confessed. He actually confessed to committing a second burglary in the same neighborhood, which we're still investigating. All of the stolen property from both burglaries was recovered, except for the gas. He put that in his car.
was he a pizza delivery guy?
He is.
He's a pizza delivery guy. That's nice. That's a good thing to
was.
know.
Yeah, he was.
It was. Captain, can you do me a favor? We're going to start drafting letters to the state attorney's office on these guys, these career criminal guys, to let them know that, hey, this guy's a career criminal, and when you prosecute him, we're watching and we need you. Or Kevin, we're going to send the letters. Where's Kevin at? We'll start sending the letters through you so that you know, because you're not going to handle this guy, right? This is going to go. You're going to handle it? Okay. Well, then you already know. You'll save me the letter. Thank you.
Sheriff Detective Teague, who's assigned to the Career Criminal Task Force, will also follow up on that.
Okay, perfect. All right, good job.
And Sheriff, huge kudos to Volusia County Crime Center for coming up with the suspect. And
You're going to hear a lot about them today because they have been doing an absolutely phenomenal job. And this was an example of that, all the stuff they do behind the scenes.
all right, next case, 17-10343. It occurred at 2214 Furwood Drive. It was a daytime burglary through an unlocked window, and then forced entry was made into a locked bedroom. No prints were recovered. A bulletin was done. Shoe and tire impressions were photographed. And game systems were taken.
In this one, a unknown black male arrived at the residence on a bicycle, knocked on the front door, proceeded to the backyard where entry was made through an unlocked window. The male then fled on the bicycle. It had a 2-hour time lapse. This is up in 44 zone. Initially, we had a suspect of Rodriguez kind. We have 100% cleared him as the individual involved. With no latent prints, we do have video surveillance. It shows a black male on a blue bicycle with white forks on the front, traveling around the neighborhood. Laptop, Atari, an iPad, a bag was stolen. No serial numbers for those. Entry was made through a rear bedroom window, which was unlocked at daytime burglary. Nothing in ponds. No DNA. We put out a bulletin on this. We've worked closely with patrol, explained to them that we had a little issue in this area. We've done extra patrols, really put a lot of heat in this area. We've contacted several black males on blue bicycles. One I was actually on a bicycle very similar. We've not been able to identify who the person is in the video surveillance at this point, but we've put enough pressure up there that it's put a halt to these burglaries.
Okay.
All right, next case, 17-10325. It occurred at 1516 Antilles Terrace. Another daytime burglary, forced entry to a side door. The witness actually knew the suspect.
Is it boyfriend, former boyfriend or something?
Yep.
Is it burglar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, PS4 was taken, no prints.
Yeah, this was initially thought to be a little unusual. The ex-boyfriend broke into the residence and stole the PlayStation while the roommate was there. This is another one assigned to Detective Roman. The suspect was Jeffrey Carper. He's 3-0 on felonies, 4-0 on misdemeanors. This is not insurance fraud. No latent prints, no video surveillance. PlayStation was stolen with a couple games. We got the serial numbers for it. Entry was made through prying a side door. A pawn check didn't show anything, but initially it seemed suspicious, and as we investigated it, we got with the suspect's mother and determined that actually the stolen property was pawned in Orlando, and the system hadn't caught up yet. We were concerned that maybe he might get it out of pawn before we have a chance to get it, so we started calling all the pawn shops down in Orlando and actually located it and recovered it, and we got a warrant on the suspect. He won't come back to Volusia County because of the warrant.
He'll be back.
We'll bring him
girlfriend
back.
lives here. Good job. So you recovered the property, and we got a warrant for his arrest for burglary.
Yes, sir.
Good job.
All right, next case, 17-10123 at 1002 Alpine Drive.
It's a little suspicious.
Yeah, it was a daytime burglary. The ex-tenant actually had a key, and it's alleged that maybe he entered. There was no forced entry to the rear French doors, no prints, no video, and electronics were taken.
This case actually keeps getting more suspicious. Like he said, no forced entry. They did provide a suspect, prior tenant. He's 3-0 on felonies, 8-0 on misdemeanors. We're also exploring this as a potential insurance fraud. It's a daytime burglary. We checked pawns. There's a lot going on with this house. When we check the address, it actually shows that there's a hazard on it with the career criminal unit. We have a suspect in a theft in the December of 2016, vandalism November 2016, a narcotics complaint where I believe an arrest was made in October 2016, another burglary in September of 2016, a warrant arrest also in September of 16.
I don't know if you know
I could go on for a long time.
I don't know if you know, but what was the burglary report that they filed previously?
I don't believe, but I believe it was similar from what I remember. And then we checked her pawns, and she's pawned a whole lot of the same similar type items. And at the same time, she has serial numbers, so we don't believe it's the same property, but there's a lot going on here.
Have they filed any other insurance claims, do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We're still looking into that.
All right. Sounds like you got a lot of wind in your sails on that one.
Next case, Sheriff, 17-10031. It occurred at 1441 Saxon Boulevard. It was a daytime burglary, unlocked rear door, electronics and jewelry were taken, and 2 prints were recovered.
Like he said, the entry is through a rear door, occurred during the day. Nothing on the victim's CHs. We have no suspects in this case. 2 latent prints that were sent out. We're waiting on those. No video surveillance. A lot of different property was stolen on this one, electronics and jewelry. Entry was made through a back door, daytime burglary that was unlocked. Nothing in ponds, no DNA. Just don't have a lot on that one.
Okay. Eric?
All right, next case, 17-9778. It occurred at 1491 Roble Lane. It was a daytime burglary, unlocked side door, shoe prints. Inside the garage, which had been secured, was matched the suspect who was actually arrested.
Yeah, there's no evidence that he was tied to any other burglaries at this time.
Okay, so we arrested Billy McNair on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, did we arrest 2 or just 1? Did we arrest a female?
No, we did not. She admitted to being in the yard, but we had no evidence.
Does he fit the description of the guy on the bike?
No.
No? Okay.
All right, next case, 17-9652. It occurred at 1860 Karen Street.
It's a little disturbing, 1 o'clock in the morning. Got a 70-year-old female in the house alone when this happens.
Yes, sir. It was an occupied nighttime burglary. Entry was through a window by taking out the AC unit, and then when they left, they put it partially back in. Jewelry was taken, no prints.
Yeah, this is a somewhat odd case where entry was made through the AC unit. Only a necklace was stolen. While the lady was inside the residence sleeping, she didn't hear anything. No indication that this is any kind of insurance fraud. We have no latent prints, no video surveillance. There's nothing in the ponds, no DNA. At this point, we have no real good leads. We do have, this is in the same area of all the cases where we made the juvenile arrest.
Well, let's fast forward and talk about the little darling, the little cherub. Let's talk about him.
Down in this same area, we had multiple different burglaries. Let me find. Oh, we're going right into that. Oh, we're not. Basically, he broke into several cars and houses, and we've arrested him. And then he got out, and we arrested him again on a warrant with the help of Miss Carla there.
Carla, you seem to be familiar with this little wayward child.
This kid is a middle school student, and he has started his own crime spree by himself. He catches the school bus to school, he leaves school, he hangs out, and all he wants to do is break in stuff and get high. So.
Yeah, he's responsible for the one at 2160 Wallingford. We're still working that one. And the one at 1872 North Kingsway, which we cleared that by arrest.
His father's been cooperating with you, right? And
Yes, his parents are very cooperative. The problem here with this youth is he's a habitual runaway before he got into trouble, and it's an unfortunate thing that there is no Florida statute against kids running away, so our hands are really tied. So the kids are just out there roaming the streets, and there's not much we can do until they start getting into criminal activity.
Is he in secure custody now?
He is currently in secure custody for 21 days.
Is there any chance when he gets out that we can have the parents petition the court to get him on an ankle monitor to keep him under wraps further, or?
Yes, that is a possibility.
Okay.
We've been working real close with patrol, and they've been putting a lot of heat on this kid and really keeping him on his toes, making sure that we follow up with him and know where he's at as best we can when he's getting into shenanigans. We've really been working close on this.
He's just one. We're going to get in here in a minute to home where they're coming over here from Tampa committing crimes. So, okay.
All right, next case is burglary of structure. It's 17-9873. It occurred at 435 Dixon Avenue. 2-day time lapse in reporting, forced entry to the French doors, construction tools were stolen, and shoe print recovered, and suspect vehicle is a white SUV.
Basically, entry was made, new construction home, like he said. This is down in 41 zone. No prints, no video surveillance, no serial numbers for any of the property. We checked ponds, nothing was located at this time. We have no DNA. We are specifically checking this case based on the vehicle description and everything against the Mitchell Dorn. When we were at his house, when we recovered all the other property, this property wasn't there. So if he is involved, we couldn't find the property, but we're still exploring that aspect.
Okay.
All right, Sheriff, the next case of note is a larceny. It's 17-10336. It occurred at 2720 Elkham Boulevard, which is a Circle K. It was a retail theft. 2 suspects stole several items from the store, and there was surveillance video, and they took electronics, drones, things like that.
This is a great case worked by the detectives unit here. It was cleared by arrest times 2. If we can pull up their jail photos. Basically, like he said, 2 males went into the Circle K and surprisingly enough stole $327 worth of electronics from the gas station. It was Alexander Kenyon. He's got no felonies, 3 misdemeanors with no convictions, and Benjamin Donnelly. He's got 4 misdemeanors and 3 convictions. This also is tied to a theft of a generator stolen from a construction site where they were trying to steal a generator and actually drug it from a construction site about 1.5 miles, a massive generator.
They drugged that generator?
They drugged it. They couldn't get in their car, so they left their car running with the lights on in the middle of the road and drug it through the woods for like 1.5 miles. We recovered the generator. We brought them in for questioning. We got a confession on this case. They've both been arrested on it. The red shirt there actually has a design on the front of it. He was wearing that when he stole the drones and the generator. So we were able to tie them together. And
Didn't he show his tattoos off in the store?
he did. A young lady came in while he was committing the thefts and started talking to him, and he was so smitten, he pulled up his shirt and showed all his tattoos off, which really helped us identify him.
Wow.
Sheriff, to their credit, the generator actually had 2 wheels, so that did help them drag it a mile.
Okay, so it helped them a little bit as they were rolling it along. Okay, I'd like to know where these 2 guys went to school at. They must, never mind.
All right.
It's being recorded.
The next case of note is a larceny, case number 17-9612. It occurred 1699 Maytown Road. Firearms were stolen from residents by a known suspect.
This is a case that was worked by the Deltona Detectives Unit. Investigator McGuire worked this one. We located, let me back up a little bit. The victim was contacted by his son, who asked for a ride, so the victim left his residence, and then suspect never showed up. His son never showed up. When he returned home, he noticed several items had been stolen, which included firearms. Deputies made contact with a witness who saw a silver SUV parked about halfway down the road and was there for about 20 minutes. Through investigation, we located a witness who thought the vehicle was suspicious and took a picture of the license plate. We then contacted the registered owner, who confessed that they took the suspect to the house. He was ultimately arrested and confessed to the crime. He is Casey Sutton, 10-0 on felonies, 6-3 on misdemeanors. This was cleared by an arrest. The firearms were traded in a high crime area down in Seminole County, and we were unable to recover them.
I think the moral of this story, you got a really good neighbor who sees something that doesn't belong and snaps that photo, which gets this whole thing rolling for us. So kudos to, I can't pronounce his last name, but that's great for having people in the community that want to step forward like that.
And to that point, Sheriff, we do need everybody's help. We can't be everywhere all the time, and it takes the community to help us.
Amen.
All right, moving on to larceny car breaks. We had 9 during the 2-week period. 7 were at night, 2 were daytime, 7 were unlocked. Those were the nighttime burglaries.
So 7 of your 9 were unlocked.
Yes, and those were the nighttime. The 2 that were locked were forced entry, where they smashed the window, and it's what we call felony lane. And for the public, a felony lane is basically a group of individuals that target certain businesses or locations like parks, gymnasiums, YMCA, things like that, where people usually leave their valuables in their vehicle while they go inside or when they go out on a walk at a park and use the facilities. And unfortunately, these folks take advantage of that. So the moral of the story is don't keep your valuables in your vehicle while you're doing these events. So the first case is 17-10868 at 2160 Wallingford Street. It was a nighttime burglary, unlocked vehicle, and money was taken.
This is a case believed to be involved with Nathan Hargis. Basically, white male seen fleeing the area. Vehicle is left unsecured. We're still working on this case to try to tighten it up.
Okay, so we got a suspect on this one.
Yeah.
And he's a juvenile.
He's the one that we talked about, Hargis.
Okay. He's not the one from the group home, is he?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but he did confess to several burglaries. I mean, CID did a great job.
Yeah, the next one he
Well,
actually,
you got him, okay, he's a suspect in the Wallingford, and then he's charged for King?
yes, sir, we arrested him on that one.
Okay, so go ahead.
So that case is 17-10286, 1872 North Kingway Drive, nighttime burglary, unlocked vehicle, prints were recovered. Nothing was found missing, but it was cleared by arrest.
Deputy Hanser gets the lift on this thing, does a nice job processing the car, and then you go from there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Led to solving that case and putting it into the, temporarily putting it into the crime spree and
And
still
41
working on it.
right? So are
46.
these Deltona Boulevard, Evans Circle, and Ashbourne Way, are they all connected to the same individual?
Yes, sir, it would be the, there's like 4 or 5 of them in that area that are all connected.
Okay.
Okay, next case, 17-10259,
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
272 North Evans Circle, evening time burglary, unlocked vehicle, money taken, prints were collected.
Yeah, in this one, a suspect was observed entering the victim's vehicle, then running towards a residence where a birthday party was occurring. They located the victim's wallet in her yard. Subject matched the description of the person who was attending the birthday party and was acting strange throughout the day. This case is active, and we're still trying to work out the kinks on it.
Okay. So he breaks into the car and runs into a birthday party.
Yes, sir. We have a pretty good idea who did it. We're working it out.
Okay?
Next case, 17-10129. It occurred at 1200 Deltona Boulevard, Crunch Fitness. This is one of the felony lane style that I mentioned. It was a daytime burglary, forced entry. They busted out the passenger window. Purse was stolen. No prints, no video.
Yep, this one's got no prints, no video.
And we're saying that's connected to Lakeshore Drive.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Case 10124, same method of entry. In Deltona, it's very rare that we have somebody that breaks a window to get into a car. It's very rare. Most of the time, it's unlocked doors. I have heard over the years, why lock my doors? They're just going to break out my window. That's not the case in Deltona. These are very few and far between. If you lock your doors, odds are they're not going to break out your window.
Unless you're, like, as we talked earlier, you got a gym and a park, and you have something laying.
Yeah, if you leave
Or
your
your seats.
purse on the seat, instead of putting it in the trunk or something like that, before you even leave the house, if they get out, they're watching and they see you put it in the trunk, that's not a good idea.
And most of these prolific offenders come from South Florida. They come up here in groups and just rape or rob and pillage the cars.
And it's not here. It's not here. I mean, it is all over. I mean,
Yeah.
we had it in
Yeah, it's
Daytona Beach. They come off of
statewide.
95 and I-4, and they just hit subdivisions. And by the time you discover that your credit card is missing, it's been used in Boca Raton. It's been maxed out by the time you believe it's missing. So-
Yes, sir. Which brings us to...
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The next one was at Green Springs Park, the one that Todd had mentioned. Daytime burglary, they broke the rear window, a purse was stolen. There were prints recovered, I'm sorry.
We're still waiting on the prints. Other than that, we have no leads at this time on this case.
Okay?
Next case, 17-10114. It occurred at 2113 East Parkton Drive. It occurred overnight. It was an unlocked car door. Prints were recovered, nothing taken.
Yeah, the time lapse on this one's from 2 o'clock in the morning till noon. We don't believe it's insurance fraud. Two prints were recovered. We're still waiting on those. There's no video surveillance. Nothing was actually taken. Entry was made through an unlocked door. Not much on that one.
Okay.
Next case, 17-10093. It occurred at 538 South Finland Drive. It was a nighttime car break, unlocked vehicle, wallet stolen, white SUV, possibly a Nissan as the suspect vehicle, and latent prints.
In this one, it was a black male was seen rummaging through the vehicle, and he took off running, entered into the white SUV. No indication that there's any insurance fraud here. We did get 3 prints, but they were of no value. There was no video surveillance in the area. The only thing that was stolen was a wallet with $2 in it, so there's nothing for us to track out of that. Unlocked door, nighttime burglary. We don't have any leads on this one.
Okay.
All right, next case, 17-9620, occurred at 357 Coventry Estates, nighttime car break, unlocked vehicle, no prints, iPod was stolen.
We got no prints on this, no video surveillance, no serial numbers. We have checked pawns, nothing that we could tie to this to get the victim their stuff back. So another unlocked doors, nighttime burglary with no leads.
Next case, 17-9586, it occurred at 1418 Ashburn Way. It was a nighttime car break, no signs of forced entry, a suitcase was stolen, palm prints were recovered. The stolen suitcase was actually recovered. The only thing that was not recovered was the victim's passport. It was assigned to patrol, and it's currently inactive with no leads.
Okay.
All right.
Robberies?
Moving on to robberies. First case is 17-10050. It occurred in the road adjacent to Deltona High School involving some Deltona High students. It was cleared by arrest, ×2, 2 suspects arrested. Cases worked by patrol, and they did a good job. Basically, 2 kids asked, one's, did you want to talk about it, or?
You guys, yeah, patrol did a great job on this one, Sheriff. Essentially, one student took 2 others for a ride to the gas station. They saw he had some money and attempted to rob him. They implied there was a firearm, however, none was seen by anybody. And shortly thereafter, the one was arrested, and I think we got the other one about 4 or 5 days later. He was arrested as well.
Patrol did a great job on that. It was an excellent job.
And kudos to District 2 crime suppression team. They helped us out. The one suspect lived up in DeLand, and they were able to pick him up. So thank you to District 2. Next, armed robbery 17-10025. It occurred at 1190 Saxon Boulevard, which is Dewey Boster Park, and this case was cleared by arrest.
Yes, sir. This credit to Detective Steve Wheeler. Made quick work. Within hours, our shooter was arrested. It was an orchestrated drug deal that occurred at Dewey Booster Park. 2 victims contacted the suspect to purchase cannabis. Essentially, the quick work came when a suspect was identified by a nickname. Detective Wheeler recognized the nickname of the suspect from a previous robbery that occurred about a year prior. Same MO, same type of thing. Victim was shot at. In that case, our suspect in this case, who's a shooter, wasn't the shooter but was involved. He was able to put together a lineup real quick, got him identified, flyer went out, obtained an arrest warrant for him. Within hours, he was taken into custody. A tag came back from a tag reader at the park on a vehicle he was driving. We do have, we're still working to try to identify the driver of the vehicle. We've got some information on who he may be, but we're still working on that. We're hopeful that we'll get him in custody, too, if we're able to make an identification. When the suspect was taken into custody, we recovered some evidence that linked him to the crime. Essentially, he fired 2 shots at the victims instead of making the drug deal. When they were running, he ordered them to give him everything they had. They took off running. He fired 1 to 2 shots. Shell casings have been sent to FDLE for comparison. Our suspect is a juvenile, Gracie Hill. He's got 7 felony charges, 1 misdemeanor, I believe, 1 conviction on the felonies. He was charged with armed robbery, attempted homicide, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by a juvenile delinquent. And I know Carla's familiar with him due to lengthy run-ins with the law. He is in custody still.
The most important thing is you got a crime of violence, shots fired, and the guy's in custody almost
sir.
immediately, preventing him from killing anybody or anything else. That's a great job all the way around. What do you got?
This particular juvenile is 15 years old. He has an extensive criminal background. At the age of 13, he was charged with a robbery, second-degree felony, burglary of an occupied dwelling, second-degree felony. So he has an extensive felony background to be so
Will this bump him
young.
up into the big leagues now, or are they going to keep him as a juvenile?
At this point, I don't know what the state attorney's office is planning on doing. This is a West Side case, so I can follow up and let you know.
Yeah, we need to follow up if he's going to get bumped up to an adult. Tim, could you bring up the slide that shows the number of robberies in Deltona for the year-to-date and the number of arrests that we made year-to-date? So the total number of robberies so we're flat. We're at the same number of robberies last year and 11. And there's the sheet, the one that shows arrest. Does it show arrest year-to-date for robberies? I know we have more than 2. That's just for... Yeah, we got more than that, because we arrested the guy last period that went for the 2 jobs, the pizza guy.
Monster Pizza, yeah.
Yeah, Monster Pizza, so there's at least 4 out of the 11, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you guys probably are up there around 75% clearance rate on the robberies is what I'm thinking.
Yes, sir.
Those arrests aren't reflected in there because the arrest may have not taken place within the district. If they're outside the district,
Okay.
then it won't be included in there. It'll be in the other
Gotcha.
district stats.
Okay, all right.
Sheriff, I would say on this case at Dewey Boster, kudos to the City of Deltona Parks and Recs. Their employees were integral in assisting the detectives in that case.
Make sure you get their names up to me, and we'll honor them at the next CompStat. We'll give them a certificate at the next CompStat. Thank you for bringing that out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Next case of note is a larceny 17-10282. It occurred at 3101 Riverhead Drive. It was a nighttime incident where the suspect cut a hole in a screen and stole a cell phone from a porch, and there was video surveillance. It was cleared by arrest, ×3.
In this case, 3 young males entered the backyard, went to the screen porch, and stole a cell phone. We ultimately made contact with a house parent in a group home and identified 3 kids as the burglars. They were taken into custody. The first one's 3-0 on felonies, 3-0 on misdemeanors. Second one's 2-0 on felonies, 3-0 on misdemeanors. Third one's 1-0 on felonies, 3-0 on misdemeanors. This was investigated by Detective Paul, who did a great job on it, and the cell phone was recovered. We got video surveillance and prints.
Carla, how many group homes do we have here?
We have 13 group homes in the city of Deltona.
13 group homes, and they're shipping kids from everywhere else
Yes.
into our city.
They can come from anywhere within the state of Florida.
So, do we have those addresses ready to give out, or you guys in control and CID have the addresses of all those homes?
Yes, we're putting together a packet for patrol in all the districts that have group homes.
Okay, so they'll know who's in there, what their,
Yeah, they'll know.
what their conditions are, so if they get stopped at 11 o'clock at night, we'll know that they're curfew violators or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's your role over there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right, next case.
Let me ask you guys,
Yes, sir.
I don't know the answer to this, and I was talking to Dave Brannon about it. Do we get a lot of calls for service to these group homes?
We do, and when we see an uptick, we reach out to the directors and set up a meeting to discuss. A lot of it is educating the employees that they're hiring. They don't, I don't want to say that they're not highly paid positions, so they don't put a lot of effort forth in deterring a lot of the activity that we're responding to. So a lot of it's education.
Maybe we,
Any other challenge is high turnover rate.
I turn over regular employees.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but there's somebody that's running that group home and making the money.
Yes, we'll be meeting with them.
Well, I think we need to meet with the city administration to see if we can pass an ordinance, an excessive user fee ordinance on these group homes, so that if they don't wanna run the group home, then they're gonna pay us to run it the right way. Just something to keep in mind. Okay.
All right, next case, it's a larceny 17-9818. It occurred at 2606 Howland Boulevard. It was theft of lawn equipment from a trailer, and there was a suspect vehicle.
This is a great case. It was investigated by Detective Pullen. If we can pull the bulletin. This is tied to a DeBerry case as well. Basically, the victim's lawn trailer was entered while he was cutting grass up on Howland Boulevard. And through video surveillance and license plate readers, we identified a possible suspect. We conducted interviews. Two total suspects were identified. We obtained a warrant for Austin Filer. He's 3 and 2 on felonies, 3 and 2 on misdemeanors. And then we filed charges on Jesse Worthen. He's 2 and 0 on felonies, 2 and 3 on misdemeanors. We did get a tag reader hit on this one, no prints. We got video surveillance, which was pretty good. 2 chainsaws, a backpack blower, and a weed eater were stolen. We got the serial numbers entered. It was from an open lawn trailer, daytime theft. And this is actually a great case where we stopped them. They were going around town stealing all kinds of lawn equipment from people, and we're putting into it quick.
Good stuff. That's excellent work. He's still wanted, right?
He is still wanted.
Okay, see if we can get a little media attention on him. Do you want to talk about the other guy or no?
No.
No? Okay.
He's actively being pursued, though.
Okay.
All right, Sheriff, moving on to domestic violence aggravated cases. We had 5 during the 2-week period. 4 were cleared by arrest and 1 was case filed. Of those 5, 1 of them is of interest. It was a deputy-involved shooting. We, patrol responded to the report of a husband trying to drown his wife. When the first deputy got on scene, he encountered the suspect outside the house at the front door. The suspect pointed a weapon at the deputy and actually fired at the deputy. The deputy returned fire to stop the threat, and he was subsequently shot and arrested and charged with attempted murder.
Yeah, the body camera video is incredible on that, and like you said, the call came out for the guy was drowning his wife in the pool, and he stood there and waited, and when the deputy pulled up, he just opened fire on him, and he's lucky he's alive. But that was really, really a great job. How about your simples, your domestic simples? How many total, and what did we arrest?
We had 25 cases of simple battery. 17 were cleared by arrest, and 8 were filed. Where
Okay.
they filed charges with the state attorney's office.
And the thing we talked about holding the thing for
Yes,
5
sir.
days, we're gonna
Yes, sir.
do that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
What do you got? What else you got?
The last case of note that I have is 17-10220. It occurred in the 100 block of Hummingbird Street in Deltona. It was a nighttime shooting reported. Patrol deputies responded. They found some shell casings, and crime scene responded, collected the casings, and I'll turn it over to Sergeant Leahy.
Sarge?
Yes, sir. Detective Almazi's been working this one, put a lot of time and effort into it. As it stands right now, we do not have a victim. This also appears to be drug-related based on the location of the shooting and what the witness observed. Essentially, a car was pulled up to a house, and a male came out from unknown where and began shooting at the vehicle as it fled away, fled at a high rate of speed. We collected several casings on scene that have been sent to FDLE for processing. The Crime Center helped out with this one. We were able to get a tag off of an LPR hit. Unfortunately, the suspect was possibly good for it. He's got 6 felonies, 1 conviction. However, photo lineups were conducted with him, and he was not identified as a shooter. The vehicle he was driving to didn't necessarily match what was on scene. But as of right now, the 2 problem locations that we're looking at in those houses, they've since moved out. Our Deltona Narcotics Unit has also been assisting with that one, but as of right now, we're waiting on FDLE to come back to see if we have a prolific shooter.
Okay, that's good. That's a good job. Jump all over that crime of violence, man. You can't let those things wait. Good job.
Thank you.
What else you got?
That's all I got, Sheriff.
I think the one thing that we really haven't talked about, and we're not going to get into the case, is I think I would caution everybody to get a credit check on yourself. There's a case that we're working right now that the guy is all over the state of Florida, East Coast, West Coast, gets into your mailboxes, opens up Capital One credit cards, and runs that sucker up to the tune of 20 grand. I think in one case that you guys got, who's the detective that has that, or the sergeant that's got that? Is he here? Why don't you come on up and talk a little bit about that. How you can protect yourself and what this guy, what's particularly being done.
Okay, there's the bulletin. I'll set this down. This is Julian Rutland. He's responsible for doing exactly what the sheriff just explained, opening up credit cards by stealing mail. I also believe he's probably doing it online as well. We have some cases on the east side of our county and also the west side of our county, DeLand and the Daytona Beach area. We currently have, I believe, 4 arrest warrants on him. Multiple counties, Pasco, Pinellas, up and down the West Coast, have arrest warrants on him also. And he's stealing personal information, opening up lines of credit, and he's using them to use a bunch of different vehicles, purchase anything and everything to run up the credit card. We have one more active case that's coming in through Capital One. We should be obtaining a warrant on here shortly. And hopefully if we can get this guy's picture out, somebody will be able to tell us where he's at, because he has a lot of vehicles and a lot of different disguises and things like that.
I think in one of those cases, they even stopped the guy's mail, the victim's mail. He went to the post office and stopped the mail from coming.
That may have been over in DeLand in the District 2 area. I'm not familiar with that.
He does have a
Good.
history of doing that. We worked him on the east side of the county for quite some time, probably about 8 months. What he was doing was putting change of addresses in to the post office, and he would get, so instead of you getting the mail, he would go to his house, and that's how he was getting the credit cards. He's kind of like what we always laid him as is the character in the movie Catch Me If You Can. Mm-hmm. He's got tons of identities.
Yeah, he uses aliases, vehicles. Obviously, he's stealing people's identity, so he can spend some time under one name. When that gets hot, move on to another one. So, like the sheriff said, check your credit and make sure. It's tax season. A lot of people's identifications get stolen during this time of year anyway. A good way to combat that is just make sure you're monitoring your credit.
If they steal mine, they'll have to pay the federal government. So I'm not a good person to be stealing. So thank you for that. Anybody got any questions for Deltona? Yes, sir.
I was curious about the murder that occurred on the corner of Fountain and Montecito. Any update on that?
Captain?
Yes, we have one suspect still in custody, and we're working to develop additional charges on him, and we do have some leads on the other people involved, so it is moving along.
So it's still active, and we have wind in our sails.
Yeah, and there's no threat to the community.
Do you want to talk about the circumstances a little bit, of what you can tell them about the circumstances of the homicide itself?
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let Lieutenant Brian, who is his birthday today also.
Lieutenant Henderson's birthday today?
Hey, all right.
Happy birthday, Lieutenant Henderson.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks.
Wait till they sing.
I'm leaving then. Like the captain said, we have a suspect in custody. We anticipate another arrest at some point in time. We're working through the judicial process. There's no threat to the community. This is a drug-related homicide. And I would tell you the majority of our homicides are people putting themselves in places they shouldn't be. The one in DeLand that we're working right now as well. It's an unfortunate situation, but that person put themselves in a bad situation. So that's working on its way too. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am, Commissioner.
So, thank you, Sheriff. While you're going through all the statistics, and I was pulling up some of the addresses as many as I could, and there's a considerable percentage that are So my question is, I have like a twofold question. Number one, when a crime occurs at a rental property, does the sheriff's department or does anyone notify the property owner of the crime? Or do you only deal with the tenants?
We only deal with the tenant. We could, that is a good suggestion. Well, let's say it this way. In a narcotics case, we'll notify the owner. If it's a narcotics case, if Captain Gallagher is here somewhere. If his guys go out and serve a search warrant on a property, we'll notify the owner of that property that, hey, we went into your house and here's what happened with your tenants. For everything else, we don't.
Because the way, when looking at it, even when pulling some of these up on the property appraisers, a lot of them, the only way you can tell is by an exemption. And when you're looking at who owns it, how they have it listed is the owner is listed at that address. So anything that's sent to that address, even if they are the owner, that's the address it goes to the tenant. So a lot of times it doesn't get passed further on. So even with other violations, animal control violations and code enforcement violations, I think to defer to the city manager, we do notify the landlords now. So is there a way to somehow work together and tie that in, or is there a way to do that administratively?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think as a rental property owner, they need to be notified, especially when you're talking about several of your instances where you said the tenant moved, the previous tenant moved out, now you got another issue there with another tenant. I mean, that's a problem not only for the landlord, it's for the entire neighborhood and the city and for you.
Yep.
So if there's any suggestions to work together to deal with.
Why don't we sit down and talk about it and come up with a process where we can get that, and we give all the information to you, and then you guys send it out through either code or however you want to send it out. So the properties that you were talking about, Sarge, where you said they had moved out,
Yes,
those
sir.
two properties, give us a little bit of background on those two incidents that we were talking about.
One of the suspects there had some prior, but they were pretty well known for narcotics. Deltona Narcotics Unit had been working a tip, and they'd been watching the houses, so there had been previous incidents there. Detective Almazi, too's probably got some insight on that, since he did some surveillance and watched what was going on.
This is a rundown building. I mean, the city can do a better job if they can there.
Well, why don't we get them the address so they can send code and building inspectors out
Sure.
to do that?
I went to that house after they moved out, and it's, the building is in a pretty bad shape. Everybody there does not cooperate with the sheriff's office. They don't want to speak to us. The landlord has been notified. He knows about the shooting that happened in front of the residence. He doesn't live in Deltona, I believe.
Of course.
He has a couple other rental units in that same street. So, that's where we're at this point.
What we'll do is we'll start getting the addresses, because these guys know the problem addresses better than anybody. And we'll just start turning the addresses over to you guys and tell you this is what happened, and then maybe we develop a form letter that, hey, this is what occurred, and see how we want to go from there, whatever you guys want to think.
Going through the property appraiser's office, maybe to address, they've got to have some type of a way to get a hold of the landlords that aren't either registered or don't have that type of a.
Just ask them to be effective. On the property appraiser say that the bottom, the second list after they actually put the address there. So if their name doesn't match the address, then a rental property, case property, something like that. So if you go to the property appraiser page, you can pull it right up yourself. It's very, very, very easy to answer.
Yeah, even when
Very easy.
you're talking about on the main page of the property, right, and it's the site address. But even though a lot of these are the same.
If it's the same, then they're supposed to live. That's their house. So they're probably scamming together somehow. Tactical.
It only takes, as we all know, it only takes one scumbag landlord to bring the whole subdivision down. Because that one house is the problem house that destroys the quality of life for everybody. So yeah, we'd like to sit down and we'll get some kind of process together where we're all on the same page making the notifications.
So can I ask just one more question?
You can ask anything you want.
Coming from a blight perspective and working on with your team and the city and code enforcement, and what you're doing here, is there a way, if the city, and I've been asking this for a while, to try to get the commission to look at possibly doing a phone app for residents, and is there a way that you could tie in, I know other cities have it, where you would, take a picture of a code enforcement violation, send it in, a street light that's out, potholes and so forth. Is there a way, if something like that were to be done, for the residents to tie
Sure, because the blight is the factor for crime, broken windows. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not.
I mean, could we arrange some sort of a discussion with management and so forth to see how that would work, that we could, provide the residents with, an app that they can download? Everyone's got a
Jump in there.
smartphone. And that's a way
Jump in
to
there, say that.
notify for these type of meetings to go ahead and send out, hey, we're having a CompStat meeting, and do that.
Well, we want to start working on, just from our perspective, when Air 1 is overhead, because that's the number one question I get, is a helicopter, what was going on? We're working on a way to get an app out where people can just log in and say, oh, they're up there because there's whatever we're looking for. But Chief Creamer, go ahead, Captain.
Yeah, in the 17-18 budget coming up in October, we put in for technology just like that, where an app would go out and, like you said, take photos, stream it to us. It would go to Crime Stoppers or to the substations. So something like that should be coming out next fiscal year.
What city has that with code? Because I know when I was in Daytona, we tried to emulate the one city where they could just go out with their iPad, take it, GPS everything.
Orange City has one, and Maitland has one. There's a one company that provides the app, and if you go through it, you can see quite a few of the different cities. And Orange Cities, I actually have it on my phone, and it's really cool. And you can customize the app as to what you want to do. Some of the cities, I believe, I'm not sure if it's a Popka or someone, Maitland, maybe they live stream their commission meetings on the app. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and it just has to be customized. But I brought it up, and the commission wasn't interested initially, but I'm feeling like if we can go ahead and tie it into crime and blight and really work on that, that's my goal, is to, really work on our city and what we can do in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department and code enforcement to eliminate the blight, which is a direct correlation to crime, in my opinion.
No, I agree. It's not an opinion, it's a fact.
So, I mean,
Yeah. We'll all get together. We'll get down with our IT people and what Captain put in for, and we'll see if there's a way we can make that work, which I'm sure we can.
Well, I mean, for the residents, it would be amazing, because then you have that ability to not only say, hey, this is going on in my neighborhood, or I saw this, or is this a problem? You also have the interaction with the helicopter and the zones and everything else, and we need to be more of a community. And that would be really great. And you've done a great job working on that, so thank you.
Well, it's these guys, they're doing all the work.
Oh, yeah, but
I get to talk.
Exactly, but still, I mean, everybody, thank you so much, and thanks to the residents for coming out and taking an interest.
Sure.
Okay.
Just to add on to that.
Good.
Currently, right now, we do have an app for Crime Stoppers, P3. Crime Stoppers website, you can download that app and you can provide tips anonymously.
I don't know if you heard what he just said. Good, say it a little louder. So
Right now, we currently have an app for Crime Stoppers. We're a member of Crime Stoppers. We actually coordinate Crime Stoppers. And if you go to our website, Volusia County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers, there's an app. I believe it's called P3. You download that, and then it can geolocate your location. It can, and you can send it anonymously.
Okay, great. Thank you.
anybody else? Yes, sir.
Who establishes the group homes, and does Volusia County, the 13, have wards in other counties?
Carla?
I don't know if Volusia County as a whole has more than other counties, but that's controlled by the Department of Children and Families, because that's their placement homes for the group homes. These are kids that have been put in foster care. Those are what the group homes consist of, foster care kids.
Every city, I guess, is a little different, because in Daytona, the problem was the rehab facilities. You'd have somebody say, yeah, I'm a Christian, I have 9 rooms, and I'm going to work on drug rehab. And they would just open up this rehab, and you'd have this in the middle of a neighborhood. You'd have these guys coming in and out, doing all their deeds as well.
And these group homes are in the middle of residents, because if you notice, if you start seeing, 10 kids and they all look different, but they're all going into the same house, that's the chances it's a group home.
Since we have 13, so we're going to start to really pay attention and monitor what's going on. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. We recently attended our Parks and Recreation city meeting a couple of days ago. And being that it involved our parks, Deltona has 23 parks, which I'm sure y'all are well aware of. One of the things that, after we had the meeting, we broke out into groups. And the groups had to just, come up with 3 major ideas of improvement, things they wanted to see happen in the city of Deltona and our parks and stuff. And in every unbelievable, as I'm sure that all of you guys are, being the sheriff's department and detectives are well aware of, is the drug paraphernalia and stuff that's found in these parks and in the restrooms is unreal. They hide them in the toilet paper rolls. It's just unbelievable. When parents don't think to go in there and check those bathrooms first, and these little kids go in and they pull the toilet paper off the roll, and here's these drug things that fall out, and you know how kids are. Well, curiosity gets the best of them sometimes. My question is how can the city of Deltona work with the security of the sheriff's department here in the city to help to deter some of the drug happenings and other things that are quite bad, prostitution and stuff, that, from what I understand, that's gone on in there, to help kind of what's my word? Deter. Yes, that.
Well, and to answer your question, I mean, we do work hand in hand with the city. They're always contacting us when things are brought to light. As one way of deterrence is we extra patrol all city parks as often as we can. We ask the deputies, hey, if you're going to sit somewhere and write a report, do it at a city park. That way you're visible. There are some parks that we're actively working for drug activity. Now, I'm not going to get into the specific parks, but we do have some ongoing investigations. And I can tell you that the city is keenly aware, as are we. It's just a matter of numbers where we don't have enough deputies for every park. I mean, you said there's 23 parks, and we just don't have that many deputies on duty at one time. So
What we could do is you give me the top 5 that are really, let's see what we can do. And one of the things we could start doing is I could start having the COPs when they're out on patrol. I know you're looking, I saw you turn your head there. We could have them start to get out and just physically make a physical check like every hour or whatever. And I don't know what the hours of the bathrooms are. You know, when are they open, when are they closed? I don't know those things. In the real world, if we had enough money, you would say, hey, every park would be covered by security cameras, but that's just not, there's just not enough money to do that, I don't think. But you guys are working on that, so.
I was going to say that at the meeting, the city said that was one of the things that they were working on, which I'm glad to hear. But maybe one of the other things that the sheriff's department could do is, like our group, we go out once a month and, you know, pick up and clean up that particular park. Maybe that might, like you always say, you know, if you see something, say something. Maybe get with some of the organizations and find out who they are that are doing these adopted parks, and which might be some extra eyes and ears for you guys.
Can you, when we're done, can you get with me and I'll give you my email address, and when these things come up, you can email me and I'll make sure that I'm there or the captain's there or a representative from the sheriff's office is there so that we're tied in with you when you're moving forward? Okay.
But I think getting with the people that do the adopt a park programs might be a good way for y'all to get more information too, because they're out there every month.
Right.
So, you know.
Special ops section.
Okay.
Well, it could be a variation of neighborhood watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If I can get, when we start doing these things, if we start to go out and sell that we could absolutely use as much help as we can get. Yeah, definitely.
I know that 2 months ago at Festival Park, as we were coming into the park to clean up, we had 2 young fellows leaving. And when we got into the park, we realized that there was smoke coming out of the bathroom, and they had set a fire in the middle of the floor of the bathroom. And
We arrested the guys.
oh, good.
Good.
We got them on 2 different counts.
Good. Tell them the story.
yes.
We were assigned the case, and it took a little bit of time, but we were able to, there was another park, I don't have all that information in front of me today, but due to the proximity and the time frame, we kind of figured it was juveniles. We had some leads. Detective LeMay was the one in charge of that investigation, and through his hard work, we ended up getting them on both counts. So the other park, they were charged with both. Right. They were both juveniles, and they both confessed to each.
Carla,
Yes, sir.
what about them?
First-time offenders.
First-time offenders.
And when they confess, they went like that.
Right.
Anybody else? Let's take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to pull up DeBarry, and we're going to go through what's been going on in DeBarry. So take a couple minutes. We have cop food on the table there, donuts, so please help yourself.
Good job.
Brian's birthday cake.
You're welcome, Brian.
Healthy donuts.
Check, 1, 2. So that's, and just, hey, we're going to the festival park. Here's our call.
I got y'all. I got this report. I don't have this.
How long have we known each other? 20 years. Pretty, yes. And when is the first time that we met? See if you remember. Let's see how good your memory is. Bruce Scott introduced us in the control room of the Justice Center. That's him. So we know this is kind of like the level of operating.
So it's kind of,
Are you going over there? Right. I don't know that. I don't really know what they're going to discuss. This is what we want to do.
Works thing that you turn right, very little sign that says, and then you go down the road,
No, no, I
and, you know, so it's very cool. So, why our kids, you know, go,
why don't you let him make him stay until this is done? You know, how much Todd is going to do?
I don't think so. I think we can push it through pretty quick because we've already done the presentation that we can present it like this.
Julie Todd.
You go with this first.
No, this is the recent one. You know, we started, some people we thought was a kid in the future, but he's in custody for murder. And this is recently.
So you'll see here,
That's been true. But there's a lot of people that are involved. Once you see it, you know, it's well, we got a lot of late stuff. I don't know if we're going to get it or not. I thought we'd do better on stuff in the bar. We got some, I had Tucker started estimates. So we may get something.
Next Friday, we're literally, next Thursday, we're in Texas meeting. So within a week of being able to, we got 8 guaranteed 8.
I just hope he gets to follow some through.
He typed all the indictments up. Really?
Who would sign some? Who would sign one? Like prosecutor or judge?
We go to the judge and say, no, but we'd have this like something. Because that's where they want to find out. So we'd have to give a judge like 2 days to read it. Well, it's just, I don't know.
this way is a little bit long, you can see the big front street, much bigger.
Well, we know something like that. But you know, DeBerry has a nice place to present. You know, see the Deltona City Hall, DeBerry City Hall. Nice place, you know, it's got a nice stage, you know, you can set it up real nice. What's up? Did you go out to Homicide on Spring Hill here lately? You didn't go? Well, yeah. Tucker was out there. He was telling me about it. Shorty. Apparently Shorty lived in a vehicle there. Poor guy. Yeah, some people, a baseball bat or something? I don't know. He was.
It's not good. And then we had that little flying spree where these guys, and that's how we found out. The rest of the discovery when I started having the
Sean.
13 so make sure it's hey Carla, 13 or 11? 13. So now there's obviously just so we're aware of what happens that hey, it's
Are we using his name for sure? That's because they came up yesterday.
That's what I told her earlier. Hey, I'm going to Christian brag.
No, it's basically it's a retail thing. He should have done a photo line. Like I said, it's not that we're working, but it's still in the CompStat. I don't see it's being worked out.
We've resolved this one as well.
I know, sanctioned yesterday.
Yeah, probably.
No, like I was honest, I think it's important the community knows.
I would say we're working on this tone. I'm saying it. Suspects.
They're obviously having this week on the right. Kids that are sitting outside. It was coming up to Barry. It was interesting with Barry. Really get hammered. And it looks like it's a good people from Sanford. It just so 19 working into the level of line. Bar was still Sanford. A lot of property in the back. Yeah, same thing. Not getting
All right.
all right, sure. You guys ready to rock and roll? Captain Westfall, you ready?
Okay.
Ball today. Huh? You're in ball today.
Scoot over there, Bert.
I took it off while I was walking around.
Order Ben up here.
Represent.
Ben, today your birthday?
No.
Captain, you don't have the entourage that Captain Egan has, I noticed.
We're a little smaller there in District 6.
Okay, you're on now.
If you want, we can put Captain Gallagher next to you to give you, a little moral support. Some moral support. So, all right, Captain, so you're newly assigned to DeBarry, and Actually, where's Captain Atkins at? Is he here? Come on up here, because we'll jump right into the land after we're done.
Sheriff, just to give them a break, they have not viewed this. They have not had the
That's why I put
opportunity
him up here, just for that reason.
Okay,
I'll wing it.
I tried.
You're gonna wing it? Okay.
Just be easy.
Talk to us, you've been assigned to the Barry now for how long?
Since the 6th of last month,
Okay, so you got 5 weeks, 6 weeks under your belt.
thereabouts.
Okay, so tell us what you got, tell us what you see.
Well, just a quick snapshot of things are underway. Just like Captain Egan mentioned earlier, we too are participating in the drug drop-off this Saturday for any of those residents who have any unwanted prescription medication that want to dispose of those. It's a great opportunity for them to do that. It did happen this CompStat period, but during the last CompStat period, we experienced an increase, if you will, car breaks in our parks in and around Gemini Springs. We're currently coordinating with Mr. Tim Bailey, who's Director of County Parks, come up with some solutions to mitigate that moving forward. Moving on to our crime stats. Our total Part 1 crime year to date, we experienced a 17% reduction in total Part 1 crimes.
Now, if you say you have a 17% reduction, Captain Morgan's going to sit back there and say that he handed you a 17% reduction when you took over, so. Well, I see he's shaking his head, so you got to.
It's kind of like one of those president things. When things are going bad, you blame the previous president. When things are going good, you take all the credit. It was President Bush.
I like that analogy. That's a good analogy.
Our total burglaries are down 22%. Our auto thefts, basically it's a net, there's no change either way. Our car breaks, believe it or not, are down 35% from last year.
Even though we got our asses handed to us on the 21st, which we'll talk about. But.
And our robberies are basically net zero as well. No change there.
Okay, good. Let's get into what transpired these last couple weeks.
I will just note that during this rating period, DeBerry experienced 702 calls for service. We wrote 116 reports. We had 40 arrests, and we had 177 traffic stops. Moving on to our crimes. Our first one is auto theft.
The total of 4, right? This period?
I believe so. Some of those might actually be reclassified.
Right, okay.
Our first one is case number 17-10710. This occurred at 376 Hampton Hills Court in DeBerry, which is in the DeBerry Golf and Country Club. And this has a tie back to those car breaks we spoke about, but we'll talk about those in just a minute.
Okay. Well, you might as well get right into them. You got a stolen car.
This was a 2007 Chevy Silverado pickup truck. The keys were left inside the vehicle. The vehicle was left unlocked. We did have some surveillance video, and unfortunately we had a resident that saw 4 suspicious individuals walking in the streets at around 1 o'clock that morning. A short time later, they actually saw the vehicle backing out of the driveway, their neighbor's vehicle, which is the stolen vehicle. They turned to their significant other and said, maybe we should call this in, and they told them basically to ignore it, and that's what we did, or they did. Unfortunately, that was a prime opportunity for see something, say something.
Right.
Perhaps we could have caught them in the act, but
did this happen in the country club?
It did.
Do we have tag readers in the country club?
We have video surveillance, sir. Actually, very good video surveillance. That's what Mr. Plunkett, his security company, works at. So, yes, we have the capability, if the angles are right, to get tags on those vehicles. Yes, sir.
No, I was at a community meeting there.
Yeah, they're still working it with their board to put in permanent cameras.
Let's see if we can, after this happened, let's see if we can maybe get them to expedite doing that.
I'm pretty sure that they're going through the
They're going through the.
Yeah, they're just financially trying to get things in order.
Okay, okay.
And if you like, sir, we can discuss those car breaks.
Go right into this. This is all connected. 421 was not a good night for us. So go ahead.
During that same period, and this is a tie into that stolen vehicle, between Glen Abbey and the DeBerry Golf and Country Club, we experienced 9 car breaks. Basically, the vehicles, even though the owners believe they left them locked, there was no signs of forced entry, which would indicate that they were unlocked. Several latent prints were recovered.
Items of note that were stolen were some GPSs, but of most concern, a .380 semi-auto handgun that was left inside the center console of one of those vehicles.
Sarge, what do we got? Vehicle gets recovered, the pickup truck gets recovered in Sanford.
Yes, sir. It was recovered on this one on West First Street in Sanford. It was processed, the exterior was processed by CCAT, which is a city-county auto theft from Seminole County. We subsequently recovered those latent prints. We'll be examining those ourselves. Inside the vehicle, the stolen vehicle, was property taken from the conveyance burglaries at the same time, which the captain was mentioning. We subsequently recovered all the property within the vehicles, including some GPS units, purse, miscellaneous items, and we've started processing those for latent prints with our own crime scene people. I do know that some of those items were processed yesterday, and they've been turned over to a latent print unit, along with the latent prints that Seminole County recovered from the exterior of that truck.
Okay.
Latent prints, put that at the top of the list for today.
They're at the top of the list, good. Good. That was my next question. Okay? Now, just to give you a flavor for this, we talked about Felony Lane. Here's a group that comes over for Sanford. Talk about the woman that we whack for, was it Gemini Springs?
Yes, sir. There's a female identified as Diane Garrett. And as Captain Egan explained, it's Felony Lane. It's real popular, and the groups originate from the Fort Lauderdale area, at least the people that we've had experiences with in the past. We had 3 separate incidents at the trailhead in Gemini Springs. That's separate from the park. And like I said earlier, this is a place where people go out, they leave their vehicles secure. Generally, it's women that are victims. They leave their purses on the interiors of the cars. But every single one of these is a forced entry burglary to the vehicle. The people are locking their vehicles, but they're just unfortunately leaving the purses possibly under the seat, maybe even on top of the seats, maybe an item covering it. And generally, what's in their purses are checkbooks, personal identification. When these items are taken, there's generally a female that's involved, and she's the cashier. And she will take checks, and we're talking multiple victims, different locations. It can be in Volusia County or most likely outside of Volusia County, and they're switching it up using one victim's ID, one victim's checkbooks at another bank. Okay? In this case, Ms. Garrett, we've linked her to 2 out of the 3 car burglaries in the trailhead at Gemini Springs. Additionally, she was already on probation in Kansas and from Oklahoma for this same thing. She had a 10-year sentence suspended out of Kansas, Oklahoma. And we've linked her now to probably about 15 to 20 other jurisdictions within the state of Florida, other counties, other city jurisdictions. And it's the same MO, daycare centers, parks, jogging places, fitness gyms. Mm-hmm. So that's her MO. She's in custody for a lot of our warrants now. There's more to come. The other jurisdictions are also on board. I know that Claremont and Lakeland already have warrants in place. There's also a hold on her out of Kansas. Very prolific. Still a lot of work to do on her. We subsequently recovered 31 wigs when we did a search warrant at her temporary residence in Orlando. Master of disguise.
And is she the one that led the Oklahoma Highway Patrol on a chase?
Yes, sir.
She's one of many people yet to be identified.
Right.
So this is going to go on for foreseeably months to link other people to this.
Okay. Because nobody goes to jail. Even when you catch them, they don't go to jail. That's what it comes down to. Hopefully. Hopefully. Sarge, good job. Captain, go ahead.
Our next auto theft is case number 17-10582 that occurred at 257 Bayou Circle in DeBerry. This was a 2002 Corvette that was taken from a gated community, subsequently recovered the following day in Midway.
The vehicle was recovered shortly after it was reported stolen. It was recovered on Roseberry Lane in Sanford, which is in the Midway area. Mm-hmm. There was video of only the vehicle coming back that night, which was the owner bringing the vehicle back home. There's an alternate entry-exit point, and there was no suspect vehicle attached to it or seen the vehicle leave. Again, Seminole County, when we got the vehicle, there was no punched locks. The ignition was intact. And we had Seminole County, they dusted the exterior of the vehicle, and again, we recovered those latent prints, and we'll be examining those to see if we can get a latent hit on the car. The owner cleaned out the inside of his car before we could get to it. There's no signs of insurance fraud on this one, sir.
Okay.
And we also checked with our tag reader. We called when it happened, and they had no tag on any LPRs specifically, but possibly like the 417, so we called.
Right.
There was no activity on it.
Okay, good job. That's it for your auto thefts, right? Burglary? You got one?
He had one burglary, this case number 17-10104, 285 East Constance Road. This actually may be a header change. This was a house under construction. Several construction-type tools were stolen. During a neighborhood canvass, a vehicle was observed at the residence late in the evening, which may be tied into another subcontractor.
Sarge?
All right, sir, we've run a criminal history on the suspect, and he is 1-1 and 4-0 on misdemeanors and felonies. We've checked his pawns. So far, we're negative on his pawns. According to neighbors in the area, they did see a vehicle. There was two separate neighbors that saw a vehicle. They described it, and it kind of matches what he may operate. We're not exactly sure. We have a possible address on him, and they're trying to find that vehicle to see if they can match it to him first. We're eventually going to have to be talking to him. The house itself is a house under construction. They covered no latent prints. There is no LPR activity in the area. And we checked the pawn shops for any persons for those particular items. We've come negative so far.
Okay. And we're working on the bookkeeping end to see if this is going to be turned to a larceny or whatever.
Correct.
Okay, sounds good. What do you got? Walmart was the next one?
Yeah, moving on to larcenies. This is a theft, case number 17-10531. The Walmart located at 185 North Charles R. Beale. And the suspect stole 18 packs of Heineken beer.
Big difference from the Bowery to Daytona, man. If it was Daytona, they'd be stealing Natty Ice. You know, cheap beer. Here, they steal the high-end Heineken stuff.
Fortunately, we had a witness that observed the suspect vehicle leave. We got a tag number and identified a possible suspect. My understanding is CID and patrol working this together. This may be something more than just a simple retail theft, and might be something a little bit more to it.
Sarge?
I believe District 4 CID, Detective McGuire is actually working this particular subject in a larger type of an affair.
Anything you want to talk about, or no? Okay, gotcha.
The suspect is wanted right now, right? For VOP?
That is true.
Your suspect's got a, yeah, good. Out of Seminole County?
We're shooting for maximum impact.
Okay,
Our patrol guy is working with them on that case, sir, photo lineups and such.
okay.
Our next larceny is case number 17-10265. This is a CVS pharmacy located at 2400 Enterprise Road. This typical shoplifting, failure to pay, and patrol found the individual a short time later and was cleared by arrest.
Okay, good job. And I think you got a car brake.
Yes, this is a tie-in to what Deltona spoke to earlier. This is case number 17-9696. Location was 560 Quail Lake Drive. Basically, suspect stole a backpack blower from a lawn maintenance crew that was working in the area. Due to some hard work by one of our patrol supervisors in coordination with Mr. Plunkett, we obtained some great surveillance video to include the backpack blower being in the back of the pickup truck as it passed that location. Those were tied back to Mr. Jesse Worthen and Austin Filler.
So you got him, good, got him running around in Deltona. We got him on that. You got him up there with you, the Bowery.
Yes, sir. He's been arrested for that already. He was talked to by District 6 and District 4 CID units.
Goes to say, the criminals know no boundaries. Okay?
Our next case is a theft. That's case number 17-10184 at 442 West Gardenia Drive. This was a case where the owner of a hoverboard, I guess, left it down by the end of the driveway by the mailbox. A short time later, according to a witness that was found in the area, saw either a silver BMW or Mercedes stop and pick up the hoverboard. It's currently assigned to our patrol for further investigation.
Sarge, anything come out of the Mercedes?
No, sir, not
Nothing?
yet.
Okay.
We were moving on to ag assaults.
What about the exploitation of the elderly case?
That case is 179903. This actually occurred in the District 2 area, but it was reported in
Okay, so it's
Barry.
where are we with that, even though it's in
We
Deland?
just got it assigned yesterday, went out to evidence this morning, told all that, and going through it and working with the state attorney's office on these
Okay, sounds good. Aggravated assault?
Yes, this is case number 1710100. This occurred at 1814 14th Street. Long and short of it, some roommates got in a fight over a pair of socks. One threatened the other with an empty bottle of liquor, and long story short, it was cleared by arrest.
Okay. Domestic aggravates, domestic ags?
We had one, and it was cleared by arrest. Basically, it was a mutual combat where perhaps a knife was involved, but due to the nature of the, I guess, injuries and/or conflicting stories, it was deemed to be a mutual combat, and they both went to jail.
Domestic simples?
We had 7 total. 3 were cleared by arrest, and 4 were unable to be located, so they were 707 was sent to the state attorney's office for review.
Okay. Anything good for the order? You want to throw in there anything at all?
That's about all we got.
You guys, I can tell you last night that I was in Enterprise at a community meeting, and a lot of people commented on the presence in Gemini Springs. They were aware of the series of car breaks in there, and they were very complimentary to what they were seeing out there from us. So I want to thank you for picking things up.
We appreciate it. The patrol folks, I probably told you before, they were when this all first started, they were hitting those parks pretty heavy at their own volition, and they were very disheartened when they would leave to go to a call or go get lunch, and only to find out in that 30-minute window they were gone that they got hit. So they took it to heart, and they've been doing a lot of self-initiated patrols in those areas.
Well, Captain Morgan's in charge of our bike patrols, and we got new bikes coming in here shortly, so the command staff itself will be out there biking through the parks as well as getting our.
We already had a request from one of our people that just went through that
Bike training.
IAMBA class, that going to night shift and looks forward to getting on a bike. And
Yeah, I think we're testing one out Friday. We're testing and we're going to see where we're going to go. So there's going to be bikes in Deltona and DeBarry and DeLand. We're going to be out and about, so that's coming. Anybody have any questions for DeBarry? All right, DeLand, we don't have any maps for you, but Captain, give us what do you got?
A snapshot, or you want to go line by line?
I think we do have a map.
Give us a snapshot.
Snapshot.
Sarge, good job.
We may have a map.
We may have a map of the land. Tim, do we? You guys got the land map? Don't let him off the hook that easy. Because Sergeant Stewart is, I can see he is ready to go, man. He's got his he's got it ready. Look, he's got his book and his coffee. He's good. So go ahead, give us.
Just a quick thing with the events going on in the land area of District 2. We also are participating in the DEA drug take back this weekend, as well as the event at Earl Brown Park, community event at Earl Brown Park on Saturday.
That's Community Unity Day, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Just as a note, we had some resources over in Lake County helping them with their bike event over there. And then we had Deputy Moss here. It was kind of a last-minute request. Deputy Moss was asked to come in and give a presentation to a third grade class on the life, or a day in the life of a canine officer, and was very well received on that end.
Good job.
In District 2, for this reporting period, we've handled 1,037 calls for service, written 201 reports, 34 felony arrests, and 58 misdemeanor arrests. Going down the line here, We want to do stolen vehicles.
Good.
First stolen vehicle we had is 17-10616. This is a vehicle that it ran out of gas on I-4 at the 117 mile marker eastbound. This occurred on the 12th of April. On the 19th, the victim went back out there and to fuel her vehicle up and realized it was gone. She reported it to us. We got some tag hits over in the Orlando area, just some delayed hits after we entered the vehicle stolen. However, on the 20th, Deputy Feaster located the vehicle at 1259 9th Street in Daytona Beach. He processed it for latents. We couldn't find any. Notified the victim. She couldn't come to pick it up, so we towed the vehicle to Universal. Vehicle was in good condition, no damage or anything like that.
Okay, so that was recovered?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Second one, 17-10423. This occurred at 1428 South State Road 40 in Astor. This is a tractor that was removed from a barn. The uniqueness of this situation is this property, according to the victim, was willed to her by her deceased uncle that passed away on the 5th of February. We have yet to get in contact with the attorney to determine whether she's actually the victim or this may be a potential civil or probate issue as opposed to a stolen tractor.
Sarge, anything?
Nothing on that. Again, we're just kind of looking at it as a potential civil issue until we can get information from the attorneys.
Okay.
The next one we have is 17-10352. This is at 1208 South Woodland Boulevard. It's at the Land Truck Center. It was a 30-foot Fleetwood RV that was stolen over a period of a weekend. There are cameras on the property, but the RV was parked in the back where it wasn't seen. It was out of view of the cameras. We did enter the vehicle as stolen. Around the same time, there was a bus there that 2 batteries were stolen out of also. But we have no physical evidence. We have no leads in this case right now.
Okay.
Next one we have 17-10315. That's 720 Albert Lane. Another RV that was stolen. Distance-wise, is in close proximity. It's also in 24 zone. It's a 1997 Volkswagen motorhome. This one was parked in the front of the victim's residence. And during this period of time where this was stolen, she was supposed to be out on vacation, but decided to come home early because she had some stuff to do in her house. RV was missing. No video, no latents, no physical evidence at all. The vehicle has been entered into NCIC FCIC as stolen.
Sarge, anything?
Tag reader hits, nothing on that. No other physical evidence. And bulletin out, and nothing else to follow right now.
Okay.
Next one we had was 17-10105. This occurred at 380 West Washington Avenue in Pearson. This is a GMC pickup that was stolen from the victim's yard. Just prior to, this is an overnight time lapse, just prior to the victim reporting it and realizing the vehicle was stolen, it was observed driving southbound on County Road 3 by another City of Pearson town worker. This occurred on the 14th. The vehicle was found on the 18th in the 4700 block of Audubon Avenue, burned. It was on fire. The fire marshal has assumed the arson case on that end of it. Investigator Merrick McDonald.
Sarge, what do we know about our victim on this?
Just based on looking at the report, we initially thought maybe some kind of insurance, but after talking with him and based on his financial situation, we don't believe it's going to be that type of case.
I got the opportunity at the Pearson Town Hall meeting to meet him, and yeah, it definitely didn't seem the type to.
Okay.
And next one we have 17-121. This is at 925 North US Highway 17. This was a 2004 BMW that was stolen from the guy's driveway. The potential suspect in the situation showed up just prior to that, unexpected and unannounced. The vehicle was recovered by DeLand PD on the 16th at the Walmart. We pulled the video, looked at it, didn't see the suspect. Video inside didn't show her coming inside. The victim does have video surveillance. At the time of the report, he said, well, he didn't know how to use it. When we recontacted him, he said that, well, all three of the cameras work here, but the one that shows what happened in front mysteriously was not working.
Sarge?
Based on this, the suspect's a frequent flyer drug user with us. We're looking at this as probably a drug loaner.
Okay. Do you think you're going to ever be able to header change it, or do you think it's just going to stay the way it is?
We'll follow up and we'll probably end up changing it.
Okay.
The next one we had was an auto theft recovery. We recovered a vehicle that was involved in a hit and run in our jurisdiction, but the suspect was out of Port Orange, and the vehicle was out of Port Orange. So we recovered the vehicle for him and TNT'd it to them.
Burglaries?
Burglary business. George Marks Elementary on the 15th of April. It's located at 1400 North Garfield Avenue in DeLand. We responded in reference to 2 juveniles in the building. We located them. This was cleared by arrest.
Carla, what do you know about 2 little darlings breaking into school? Can you imagine?
They're 12 and 13, and this is their first arrest.
Okay. They couldn't get enough of school, so they wanted to go back on the weekend. All right.
Next one we had, business burglary, was the Pandaria, and I can't pronounce that. Is at 4818 North US Highway 17 in De Leon Springs. This is a store. We responded there in reference to forced entry burglary to that business. We did recover video, as well as a black glove inside the store, black glove and flashlight outside the store that matched the black glove that was inside the store. We have latent prints, prime marks, and video that was TOT'd to CID.
Anything back on the prints?
Latent prints isn't here.
Oh, okay. What do we do with the gloves?
That was sent for DNA processing.
Where'd we go?
Not sure the status. That went to FDLE.
Yeah, the supplement indicated that Detective Galarza.
DNA? Went to DNA International? Okay. Okay.
Just quick follow-up on that laptop. We did end up getting a serial number that was entered. We had an initial person of interest that was seen in the area. He was cleared through interview and video surveillance. There's a few discrepancies. It's not going to be him.
Okay.
Bulletin was put out on that, and that's where we're at with that case.
Good job. Boston?
This is going to be a burglary of a residence where a $100 green unknown make, unknown model push lawnmower was removed from the victim's fully enclosed porch. About a 10-hour time lapse during the day. No physical evidence, no prints, no pawn history on the victim.
Marsh Road?
Another burglary of a residence. This was a bit unusual where this burglary was reported to us on the 17th. However, on the 12th, the victim's son called his father saying that a black male and a white female entered the residence through the back door and confronted the son. Son calls dad, dad responds home. He gets involved in a verbal argument with the 2 subjects. Those people leave. Rather than calling law enforcement on us for that, he calls his landlord. So then a couple of days later, these items, Xbox, was it PlayStation 4, and some games go missing. We don't have any leads on these folks that showed up as the suspicious incident prior, but they did leave the location in a red older Nissan. We don't have serial numbers on the property and no physical evidence, no prints at this point.
Okay.
Next one is 179609. It's 1905 West Minnesota Avenue. This was reported to us as a burglary residence. Suspects entered the garage and removed a handheld blower, another blower, and a weed eater Swiss lawn equipment.
Anything from our boys, filler or?
Yeah, the next case we're going to talk about, I think, is going to be linked into several of our lawn equipment thefts.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next case.
Next case, this is a burglary of a structure at 1025 Orange Camp Road in DeLand. We got a 3-day time frame. The suspect entered an unlocked barn and stole lawn equipment. The victim advised us, had, probably about several period of time before, a guy who was a contractor for landscaping that I recognized from that job. He showed up, went around, was trying to pry into my barn and get into that. He confronted him, the guy left. He gave us a name of Jamie Lee Lane. Patrol tried to research it, we couldn't find anything Jamie Lee Lane related. The victim didn't have any pawn history. And then I'll turn this over to, because we had a neat revelation yesterday that kind of fell in our lap. I'll turn it over.
George?
Yesterday, I got a phone call from Lake County. When we were running his name, there was a variation that we weren't hitting on. They've got a suspect in custody, Jamie Lee Lane, Jamie with 2 M's, for several burglary charges. And pretty much what they're doing is him and his wife are going around doing work at a property. The wife will distract the homeowner, at which time he'll steal things. Or what it looks like is they're coming back later on once they ID some of the property they want while they're there. That just happened last night, working on following up with Lake County to get some more information today.
So we're probably maybe tie, hopefully.
I think based on geographics of this, that
Right.
several of these are going to be related to him based on his area operation.
Good job.
We have 5 incidents that seem to be somewhat related between burglaries and larcenies.
Good job.
Next one we have is a larceny occurred at 736 Mockingbird Lane. This was a gold watch and a .357 handgun that was taken out of the victim's residence. The suspects in this case are the victim's son and his girlfriend. We don't have a serial number for the gun. We have yet to be able to locate and contact and interview the 2 suspects. We have no physical evidence, no forced entry, and no pawn activity on either of these 3 folks that are in this report.
George?
Like Captain said, 45-day time lapse. Right now, we're just assisting patrol to try and locate the 2 suspects so we can start doing interviews with them.
Okay.
The next one's a larceny, 1455 West State Road 40 in Astor. Victim advised she's been having some civil issues with the property owner. The property owner suspect was seen cutting down a large sign on the property by the victim. Patrol tried to contact the suspect. Were unable to. We filed a 707 charging that person with larceny.
Okay.
Next one we have is a retail theft at 4521 North US Highway 17 at the Sunoco. As a white male entered the store and stole a 4-pack of natural ice beer.
Daytona.
He was headed to Daytona. Trust me, that's where he was going.
A pack of Blue Moon bottles, and left the store. Was seen southbound driving away from the store. We weren't able to get the tag. However, we did get the video from the store as well as digital images of the video for future investigative purposes.
Sarge, anything for the price of eggs?
Nothing that matches anything else going on. Patrol did a bulletin with the suspect images and the vehicle description.
Okay.
Next one we had is a theft that occurred, larceny that occurred at 1239 Greenland Terrace.
It's going to be, it's same stuff.
Yeah, this is where a chainsaw was stolen.
Yep.
No serial number on the chainsaw, no pawn activity on the victim, and no physical evidence obtained from the scene.
Okay.
Next one was a larceny at 317 West New Hampshire Avenue. This is where a expensive bicycle was stolen from the victim. Several days later after the bicycle was stolen, he was contacted by a gentleman by the name of Melvin Murphy, who advised that he knows where the bicycle is and that he could return the bicycle to him for $40. The gentleman said, well, you go get the bike for me. He returns the bike, says, I'm not giving you $40. Long story short, the victim does not want to prosecute. He's got his bike back, and we'll be closing that case out.
Okay.
The next one we have was actually we'll be changing the header from a larceny car brake to police information. This is a pistol that was stolen out of a car allegedly. However, the pistol was located inside the residence. The wife had moved it from the vehicle to inside. And then we move on to the 21st, where we also suffered a plethora of car breaks in the Pearson area, Emporia, and Blackburn. Multiple vehicles, approximately 10 vehicles altogether.
This is all in Pearson, right?
Yes, sir.
Both jobs, Blackburn and
Yes,
Murphy
sir.
Road?
They're right around the corner from each other.
Okay, and the other one too, right? Highway 17?
I think this is going to be a little different. This is different items stolen. Where these up here in the Pearson area there were vehicles, the vehicles had power tools, things like that. Other things like sunglasses and things like that were stolen from this, cell phones. In one of them, these are all unlocked vehicles, of course. One of them, a credit card was stolen. And then from that point, I'll hand that over to Sergeant Stewart.
Yeah, we got nine vehicles broken into in that area, all of them unlocked. Wallets, credit cards, sunglasses, change, those types of things stolen. We initially had a person of interest based on his dealing in stolen property history in the area, had an active warrant, located him, interviewed him. He's been cleared, not involved. 4 days after the car breaks, one of the victim's credit cards were used over in Lake County, just across the bridge. Detective Garza followed up, has ID'd the female that used it, the vehicle used during the credit card transaction, and we've also located a nexus to one of the victims via a family member that we're working on right now. So as soon as we get the female in custody, we're going to open up and work backwards towards the car.
So we had a lot of wind in our sails on those car breaks. Good job.
The other car break that occurred on the 21st, I personally believe was probably unrelated, just due to the fact there was forced entry on this one, as well as the types of things that were stolen. This is a work truck that was parked at 4930 US Highway 17. The victim advised that the vehicle the rear door has been pried open. A lot of plumbing type power tools and tools were stolen, as well as a generator. Patrol did locate latent prints on the exterior, as well as an interior divider where whoever it was opened it up and reached in and grabbed the backpack that contained personal items. Other than that, we don't have any other physical evidence. No pawn history on the victims at all. Recent pawn history, we'll put it that way. I don't know if you want to discuss anything as far as...
We're working on getting the serial numbers. Supposedly I have them. Due to a medical issue with the victim, we're kind of stalled at this point. We're waiting on a second party to provide us with the serial numbers so we can get that going.
Okay.
And the results from the prints also.
Then move on to our felony lane style car break, which occurred at Barkley Dog Park at 1010 North Ridgewood. This was a forced entry where a window was smashed and personal items taken out, to include computer, credit cards, and that thing. We did recover a partial print from the passenger door. And we initially, patrol responded. We got some fraudulent activity at the Walmart. This has been TOT to Detective Galarza, and he'll follow up on that.
The forced entry, the purse, Kindle laptop, HP laptop. The HP laptop was entered as stolen by serial number. Patrol got a partial print. Credit card used at the gas station right there by the Walmart. We've ID'd the vehicle. They got really good video there. ID'd the vehicle. It's registered to a female. Right now we're working on tracking her down. The suspect that actually used the credit card is going to be an unknown black male. So we're looking to get the vehicle, her, talk to her, and interview her, and go from there.
Okay, good. So you've got some work to do on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Our next one occurred at 1320 South Beresford Road. This is two locked utility trailers. The locks were cut, and a bunch of power and lawn equipment were stolen. No prints, no video, no serial numbers at this time on the stolen equipment. No video, however, the victims has since installed video cameras to protect his stuff in the future.
They're getting killed with these lawn thefts. Tools and lawn stuff.
All similar. It looks like he kind of ran a line from Lake County all the way down, hit 22, 23, and then down to 24 zone, all in the same time frame.
Okay. Battery ag?
Battery aggravated.
CBA?
Cleared by arrest. In fact, we've been very successful in clearing all our domestics and aggravated batteries by arrest.
How about the Richardson Lane one? The DV by strangulation, was that CBA'd?
This is the, yes, it was CBA'd, but there's an alleged sexual battery aspect of it that has been TOT to CID. They're actively working that aspect of it.
So what do you got on your domestics? Do you only have one? One domestic ag?
One domestic ag that was also cleared by arrest, and we've had 3 misdemeanor domestic ags that were all cleared by arrest.
Okay, good job. Anybody got any questions for DeLand? No? All right. Lieutenant, birthday boy, any thing for the good of the order? You sure? Lieutenant, don't say too much, Ben, but you got anything you want to add?
No, we're up. If you want to get there.
Sarge, good job with this. Anything you want to add for the order? To the order? Captain?
I'm glad we sat down yesterday because.
Sarge, anything you want to add about what's going on in DeLand?
Good to go, Sheriff.
Captain?
Lock your cars.
Lock your cars. Captain?
Lock your cars.
Chief, you got the last word.
Lock your cars.
All right, we'll do this again on, what's the date? Our next CompStat. May 11th? May 11th. At that next CompStat meeting, you have a few more people at the table. He'll be sitting at the table, and Corey will be sitting at the table.
Not that the information's not there.
Well, what's she all up on the ledge about?